Hare Krishna. Question that is usually asked is, what is the importance of Gauchar lands? Why is it that it should be preserved? So, before understanding whether it is Gauchar land or any land we see, the there is there are four ecosystem processes that function in the life sustaining environment that we live in, because we cannot sustain ourselves without the environment or the land where the food for us comes from. And we know that it is the photosynthesis, that particular process, that is enabling all the life forms that is there in this ecosystem to survive. Without photosynthesis, none of the life forms can be fed. So we know there are about 80 lakhs, 80 to 84 lakh species, and many of them are in our ecosystem. So they all have to be fed simultaneously. Otherwise, if we are trying to feed only one species, naturally there will be derangement in the proper functioning of the ecosystem. So the four ecosystem processes are the water cycle, the mineral cycle, the community dynamics, and the solar energy flow. It is very easy to understand. Whatever sunlight that comes from the top, it should never fall directly on the soil. What will happen if it falls directly on the soil? It will heat up the soil and it will take away the water by evaporation. And it will also do a lot of damage to the soil, because as it heats up, then means no life can survive on that such a situation. So that is one very thing that happens when the sunlight directly hits the soil. It should be intercepted by different types of leaves, because what is the function of the leaf or the function of the plant? It's to do the photosynthesis. So not just one plant, one type of leaf. Different types of leaves should intercept the sunlight that is falling on your landscape. So different types of leaves means different types of sugars that are being produced. And the sugars are being pumped in after taking the share needed to grow the biomass above the soil and the biomass below the soil. The remaining 40% is given to the soil life. So to feed the life in the soil, naturally the photosynthesis should take place, and not just from one type of plant, from one type of leaf, from different types of leaves should intercept the sunlight and do the photosynthesis and pump the carbon, the sugars down for the soil life to be there. So that is what we call the solar energy flow. Then, so that is the sunlight. Then comes what does come from the top? The rain. Not even a single raindrop should fall directly on the soil. It should also be intercepted by different types of leaves. And the different types of leaf, it means it's biodiversity. That is what we call the community dynamics. That is biodiversity should be there. Different types of leaf should intercept the rainwater that is falling and the sunlight that is falling, because if these two things fall directly on the soil, it can cause a lot of erosion on the soil. Because as photosynthesis takes place, it keeps adding. The more photosynthesis doesn't take place, means it keeps oxidizing, and there will be a lot of erosion that actually takes place. If the rainfall directly falls, it leads to compaction on the soil. So that should never happen. So the water, that is what we call the water. What happens? The rainwater, when it hits and comes down, it slowly comes on the land, and as a result of which, as there is biodiversity around, the soil will be so porous and the water will slowly go down. And the same way, when the sunlight hits the leaves, the nutrients go through the roots down. So that is what happens. And whatever plant that is growing, the biomass that grows after a rain, whatever biomass that grows, the trees shed the leaves, the different types of plants shed the leaves, the grass that will be eaten by the cow, everything should be recycled at the site where it is produced. That is what the mineral cycle means. So solar energy flow, water cycle, and the mineral cycle should be properly functioning. It should be recycled there. If you do not recycle it there, again it is erosion. You are taking it somewhere, you are exporting it somewhere, it's erosion to that soil. So, and then community dynamics, nothing but different types of plants, biodiversity that is growing in a particular area. These four things should be happening in the ecosystem that is sustaining us. Wherever in the globe you are living, these four ecosystems should be functioning. Then only the ecosystem that is sustaining us, or the landscape that is sustaining us, has the power to sustain us not only for the present, but for the coming future, and for the generations to come. These four ecosystem processes should function.